Hello, welcome to Daily News Simplified, an answer to what, why, and how of newspaper reading. Today, we shall discuss the important news appearing in the New Delhi edition of the Hindu newspaper dated 13th February 2020. The news to be discussed has been presented on your screen, and timestamping for the same has been provided in the description box below. So, let's start our today's discussion. The first news appears on page number 5. It says Rajasthan seeks higher central assistance for water scheme as the state has only 1% of country's surface water. So this news highlights about Jal Jeevan Mission of Union Ministry of Jal Shakti, whereby the state of Rajasthan has demanded to increase the share of central assistance under this Jal Jeevan Mission. And in this regard, the Union Ministry of Jal Shakti is holding discussions with all the states to implement the Jal Jeevan Mission. Now, as per the Jal Jeevan Mission, the central and state assistance is in the ratio of 50:50, that is half. However, because of less surface water and more drier regions in Rajasthan, the state has demanded to increase share of central assistance in order to fulfill the objectives of Jal Jeevan Mission. So in this regard, let us understand the basic objectives of Jal Jeevan Mission and also certain backdrop with respect to Jal Jeevan Mission. Now it's important to understand the background to Jal Jeevan Mission as the aim and objective to achieve Jal Jeevan Mission is linked with the sustainable development goals to provide clean water and sanitation. So in this regard, for the first time, a central government assistance to state with respect to drinking water started in 1972 with the launch of Accelerated Rural Water Supply Program. And later, this particular program was renamed as National Rural Drinking Water Program in the year 2009. And this was a centrally sponsored scheme with fund sharing between both center as well as states. Now, one of the main objectives of NRDWP was to enable all households to have access to and use safe and adequate drinking water with premises to the extent possible. And this objective was also linked to achieve sustainable development goal by the year 2030. But now the present government has restructured the National Rural Drinking Water Program and has been renamed as Jal Jeevan Mission. And now the target to achieve the sustainable development goal of clean water and sanitation is to be achieved by 2024. So in this regard, let us understand what this Jal Jeevan Mission aims to achieve. So as already mentioned that the government of India has restructured the National Rural Drinking Water Program into Jal Jeevan Mission. And the purpose is to provide functional household tap connection to every rural households. And this has been named as Har Ghar Nal Se Jal scheme by the year 2024. Further, the goal of Jal Jeevan Mission is to provide functional household tap connection to every household with service level at the rate of 55 liters per capita per day. So this is what the Jal Jeevan Mission aims to achieve. Further, the institutional mechanism under Jal Jeevan Mission can be categorized as follows. At the national level, it is at National Jeevan Mission, whereas in the state level, it is being seen through State Water and Sanitation Mission. With respect to district level, it is seen through District Water and Sanitation Mission, and at the level of Gram Panchayat, it is seen through Pani Samiti as well as Village Water and Sanitation Committee. Now another important aspect to be highlighted is that the fund sharing between center and state is that of 50:50 for rest of the states, 90:10 for Himalayan states as well as for northeastern states, and complete sharing of central fund for the union territories. So this is the fund sharing with respect to Jal Jeevan Mission. Thus this topic becomes important both from the perspective of prelims as well as your mains examination. In your prelims, this topic gets covered under social development and your mains under GS paper 2 specifically with respect to social justice. The next news appears on page number 9. It says bill to regulate pesticide business gets green light. It provides for compensation due to losses. Now the Pesticides Management Bill 2020 has been approved by the Union Cabinet and will be presented in the Parliament very soon. This bill aims to compensate farmers in case of losses from use of chemicals, that is pesticides, and also the bill aims to regulate the business of pesticides. Now, the backdrop to this bill is that the bill has been legislated against the backdrop of rising concerns with respect to need to protect farmers along with the need to assess the potential impact on the health of the people eating such crops on which pesticides were used. So, effectively, the bill proposes to make safe and effective pesticides available for farmers as it not only protects the farmers from bad crops but also impacts health of the people. So, accordingly, as per the bill, if companies have supplied spurious or bad quality pesticides, then they need to compensate for loss caused due to ill effect of such pesticides on the said crop. Further, the bill also aims to promote organic pesticides in India. Now, organic pesticides are made from naturally occurring substances or self made mixtures, such as organic soaps or ethanol. So, in this regard, as per the new bill, farmers will be empowered to get all information regarding the available pesticides with respect to its strength, their weaknesses, as well as the risk from the dealers they choose to purchase the pesticide from. Further, the present bill seeks to replace the existing Insecticides Act of 1968 as the government thinks that this present act has become age old and needs immediate rewriting. Further, the bill also plans to regulate pesticides related advertisements in order to check misleading claims from industries as well as manufacturers. So, these can be said to be some of the proposed aims of the Pesticide Management Bill 2020. So, let us wait for the bill to be introduced in the parliament, then we shall find out what are the exact provisions of this particular bill. Now, this bill becomes important from the perspective of prelims examination as well as mains examination, as questions can be asked under the section of polity and governance and also with respect to economy, and your mains question can be asked either under GS paper 2 or under GS paper 3. The next news appears on page number 1 saying awareness drill. Now, this awareness drill is with respect to BIMSTEC disaster management exercise. So, according to this news, the Government of India has inaugurated the field training exercise of the second BIMSTEC disaster management exercise of 2020. And this second BIMSTEC disaster management exercise on flood rescue was conducted at Ramchandi beach in Puri in Orissa. Delegates and rescue teams of 5 member nations of BIMSTEC, namely India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Myanmar, participated in this event. Now, in this regard, you must know that the first BIMSTEC disaster management exercise was conducted in New Delhi in the year 2017. And this is the second BIMSTEC disaster management exercise conducted on the beach in Puri. So, overall, this exercise will provide platform to member states of BIMSTEC to evaluate their existing capabilities, to share their best emergency response practices in times of disaster, to improve their existing emergency preparedness, to strengthen their regional response mechanism, to conduct risk assessment in the context of cultural heritage sites at the time of disaster, and also to consolidate disaster response and thereby improving coordination and cooperation among BIMSTEC countries in times of disaster. So, these are the following aims and objectives of this BIMSTEC disaster management exercise. Now, in order to bring a feel of real disaster scenario, a simulated exercise sites including villages and heritage site of Konark Sun Temple was set up to depict flooded localities and houses due to flood disasters. Further, the National Disaster Response Force, which functions under the Ministry of Home Affairs, also set up Media Enclave, Communication Center, Emergency Operation Center, Base of Operation Center, Medical Camp, and also a Facilitation Center. And all these were set up as per the guidelines of INSA RAG. Now, INSA RAG stands for International Search and Rescue Advisory Group, and this advisory group is a part of United Nations. So, this advisory group, that is International Search and Rescue Advisory Group, was established in 1991 and was created within the framework of existing humanitarian coordination within the United Nations. It further highlights that this group secretariat is in Geneva, whereby it highlights that the group's secretariat falls within the Response Partnerships section of the Emergency Response Support Branch of Office of Coordination of Humanitarian Efforts in Geneva. It further highlights that under this umbrella of the United Nations, this group has successfully pursued the creation of a UN General Assembly resolution with respect to strengthening the effectiveness and coordination of international USAR assistance in 2002, and USAR stands for Urban Search and Rescue. It further says that the group's primary purpose is to facilitate coordination between various international urban search and rescue teams who make themselves available for deployment to different countries who experience these disasters or devastating effects, including structural collapse primarily due to earthquakes. Thus, International Search and Rescue Advisory Group becomes an important point with respect to your upcoming prelims examination because the Government of India conducted the second BIMSTEC disaster management exercise of 2020. And in this case, you must remember that the first BIMSTEC disaster management exercise also took place in India in New Delhi in the year 2017. Thus, this topic becomes an important topic from your prelims perspective. The next news appears on page number 9. It says, Cabinet clears major ports authority bill. The news highlights that the Union Cabinet has approved the Major Ports Authority Bill of 2020, which will be introduced in the ongoing session of Parliament. It further says that this bill will replace the existing regulations under a 1963 law. So, the Union Cabinet has approved the Major Port Authority Bill 2020, which will be introduced in the Parliament, and this will replace the existing 1963 law, which governs the 12 major ports of India. Now, the 12 major ports of India are Kolkata, Paradip, Vishakhapatnam, Kamarajar in Ennore, Chennai, Tuticorin, Cochin, New Mangalore, Mormugao, Jawaharlal Nehru, Mumbai, as well as Kandla Port. And you can also locate these ports on the map of India. So, primarily, the bill aims to enhance efficiency of these 12 major ports so as to boost revenue for the Government of India. Now, after the passing of the bill, every port shall be governed by a port authority, and this port authority shall have the powers to fix reference tariffs for various port related services. Thus, the state run ports in the country called major ports along with their ports authority will determine tariffs of port related services, and they will also determine terms for developers who team up with such ports. Further, this new bill aims to bring an end to the existing tariff authority for major ports under the 1963 law. Now, earlier there was less participation by private sectors in major ports, primarily because majority of the revenue were pocketed by these ports and there was little left for the private players. So, considering this aspect, now the government is trying to frame rules in order to enhance participation of private players in major ports and various related services. Further, the new bill also proposes to create an adjudicatory board at the apex level which shall review the decision of the ports authority. Thus, the adjudicatory board will have the mandate to resolve disputes between port authorities and also with respect to PPP operators or operators in the private sphere, that is, public private partnership operators. So, these are some of the important aspects with respect to Major Ports Authority Bill. So, let us wait for the bill to be placed in the Parliament in order to know its exact provisions. Now, the next news appears as an article on page number 10. It says, Nutrition and the Budget's Fine Print. While there are well equipped schemes to address malnutrition, funding and policy gaps are problem areas. Now, this article highlights about serious hunger in India, as India has been ranked at 102 out of 117 countries in the Global Hunger Index. Further, this article mentions that 1/10 of children between age of 6 to 23 months are fed minimum acceptable diet. So effectively, this article highlights about malnutrition, and in this regard the article says that there are various dimensions of malnutrition such as caloric deficiency, protein hunger, as well as micronutrient deficiency. So effectively, this article analyzes adequacy of steps taken by the government to fight hunger with respect to two aspects. First, with respect to underutilization of funds to various schemes for food security as well as malnutrition. Further, the article highlights that there is an absence of linkage between agriculture on one hand and nutrition and food security on the other hand to fight hunger in India. So this article provides an assessment of malnutrition with respect to calorific deficiency, protein hunger, as well as micronutrient deficiency. So let us understand this article from the viewpoint of the author with respect to malnutrition and food security. Now, as per the 2019 Global Hunger Index, India was ranked at 102 out of 117 countries, and India had a score of 30.3 and was categorized as a serious country with respect to cases of malnutrition. Now, the composition of Global Hunger Index includes inadequate food supply, child mortality, as well as child undernutrition. Now, inadequate food supply refers to undernourishment, which means that measures are inadequate with respect to food supply, which is an important indicator of hunger. Now, this undernourishment, as per Global Hunger Index, is both for children as well as for adults, and it is used as a lead indicator for international hunger targets, including the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, child mortality here refers to under 5 mortality rate, that is, number of children dying because of cases of hunger. So, it says that death is the most serious consequences of hunger, and children are the most vulnerable in such cases of hunger. Further, child mortality also reflects the index's ability to reflect micronutrient deficiency. Further, the index says that wasting and stunting only partially capture the mortality risk of undernutrition. Now, wasting refers to those children whose weight is below the average weight for their height, and such children who are below the average weight for their height are considered as wasted. And wasting also is an indicator of acute malnutrition. Further, stunting means less height of a children. So it says that children whose height is below the average for their age are considered to be stunted, and stunting is also an indicator of chronic malnutrition. So primarily wasting refers to case of less waist than normal, and stunting refers to less height than normal. Whereas with respect to underweight, it says that children whose weight is below the average for their age are considered as underweight. So in this case, the weight is less according to age of a child, and even cases of underweight is considered as an indicator of acute or chronic malnutrition or both. It further says that as per the National Family Health Survey 4 of 2015-16, it accounted that 35.7% children below 5 years are underweight, 38.4% children are stunted, and 21% are wasted in the country. So we understand that cases of malnutrition in India is very serious with respect to wasting, stunting, as well as underweight. And the third aspect of Global Hunger Index is child undernutrition, whereby it mentions about wasting as well as stunting. And calculation of child undernutrition goes beyond the caloric availability, and it also considers different aspects of diet quality as well as utilization of those diets. Further, in this respect, children are particularly vulnerable to nutritional deficiency, especially below the age of 5 years, as it is during the age of 5 years that their cognitive abilities develop the best. So it is up to 5 years that children should be fed food having proper nutritional value. Further, the index highlights that stunting and wasting are nutrition indicators even for the Sustainable Development Goals. So these are some of the important aspects with respect to Global Hunger Index and its various indicators. So considering this aspect of Global Hunger Index as well as India's poor rank, that is 102 out of 117 countries, this article analyzes different dimensions of malnutrition with respect to calorific deficiency, protein hunger, as well as micronutrient deficiency. So let us understand the take of the author with respect to these three different aspects of malnutrition. Now, with respect to calorific deficiency, the author says that the main problem is underutilization of government funds, and this highlights the problem in implementing various schemes of the government to tackle such instances of calorific deficiency, such as midday meal scheme, ICDS Anganwadi scheme, National Food Security Mission, etc. Now, this underutilization of fund is highlighted through this example of budgetary estimate with respect to ICDS Anganwadi scheme, which was in 2019-20 was 27,584 crore, but the revised budget estimates were reduced to 24,954 crores. Further, even for the midday meal scheme, the revised budget estimate was reduced to 9,912 crores as against the budgetary allocation of 11,000 crore. Further, 72% of the funds allocated to Poshan Abhiyan went into deployment of technology as well as behavioral change. So the author highlights that proper funds were not utilized for calorific deficiency. And in this regard, the article says that only 34% of the funds under the Poshan Abhiyan is utilized. So all this highlights the underutilization of funds with respect to implementing various schemes for food security. Now highlighting protein hunger, the author again says that even here the issue is underutilization of funds despite the fact that pulses, which is a major source of protein, have been incorporated in welfare schemes like midday meal scheme, public distribution system, ICDS scheme, that is integrated child development services, etc. So the article says that the issue again is underutilization of funds with revised estimates standing at just rupees 370 crore against 800 crore of budgetary allocation in the 2019-20 budgets. So as we can see, the revised estimate has been slashed to mere rupees 370 crore as compared to the budgetary estimate of 800 crores. Now with respect to micronutrient deficiency, the article says that there is an absence of linkage between agriculture as well as nutrition. Now the six important micronutrients are: first, vitamin A as it strengthens immune system, folate as it prevents birth defects and anemia, third, vitamin B12 as it is important for blood and nervous system, iodine as it prevents loss of IQ, miscarriage and stillbirths, vitamin D as it prevents rickets, and zinc, which is important for bone growth as well as for immunity. Now, the various steps taken by the government to tackle the issue of micronutrient deficiencies include food fortification, National Millet Mission, Horticulture Mission, etc. However, as highlighted by this article, that the major issue is the absence of linkage between agriculture on one hand and nutrition on the other hand, as majority of the children having malnutrition stays in the rural households. And it is in this aspect the article highlights that enough attention needs to be given with respect to linkage of agriculture as well as nutrition. And also the government should provide proper funds to tackle the cases of micronutrient deficiencies, including food fortification, that is increasing the calorific value of foods. Further, the article says that the Bharatiya Poshan Krishi Kosh in this regard can bridge this gap between agriculture and nutrition. So the government must focus on Bharatiya Poshan Krishi Kosh or any other scheme which provides for a linkage between agriculture and nutrition. So the article says that the emphasis should rather be more on nutrition related intervention and implementation of various government schemes rather than digitization of various government programs. Now, with respect to the agricultural nutrition linkage, the article says that 3/5 of the rural households are agricultural households and high incidence of malnutrition occurs in rural India. So, there is a greater need for linkage between nutrition on one hand and agriculture on other hand. Further, the article says that farmer producer organizations should focus on nutrition based activities. And in this regard, schemes for youth should also be directed at providing a linkage between agriculture and food nutrition. And lastly, the article says that there is a need for convergence of nutrition related schemes with respect to health, sanitation, as well as water. So, effectively, schemes related to health, water, and nutrition should be combined as a nutrition related scheme. Thus, this article becomes important primarily from our mains perspective, as questions can be asked in GS paper 2 as well as GS paper 3. Now, the next article appears on page number 11. It says, Riding on Data for Mobility. Now, it mentions that data based governance can assist in reducing traffic congestions as illustrated by a pilot project in Hyderabad. And this pilot project is Hyderabad Open Transit Data, which has been launched by Open Data Telangana. And this is the country's first data portal publishing data sets such as data for bus stops, data for bus routes, metro stations, schedules, fares, frequency of public transit services, etc. So effectively, this article highlights about participation of private sector in solving mobility problems by using traffic data from different sources. So, this article highlights that e governance has enabled as well as empowered citizens to directly engage with the state, thereby eliminating barriers in the delivery of public services. So, the author says that the next wave of transformation in digital governments should be in the transportation sector. And e governance should be utilized as a mechanism as well as power to solve traffic congestions in big cities. So, in this regard, the author says that data of all sorts should be utilized and collected and should be saved as a strategic asset with respect to various aspects of policy making by the government, planning by the government, service delivery, as well as other activities and operations of the government. And it is here where these data becomes critical for the transformation sector, as various data which is needed for transportation sector can not only improve the mobility and remove congestion in big cities but can also improve the economy of a city. Now this is because various reports have highlighted economic loss with respect to traffic congestion. For example, in United States, it was estimated that traffic congestions costed an estimated loss of $87 billion to the US economy. Whereas with respect to India, it was highlighted that there was an estimated loss of $24 billion in four metro cities in the year 2018. Thus, the key to solving congestion lies in improving the efficiency of existing transportation systems in India, and it is here where use of data through e-governance will become beneficial in solving traffic problems or in solving traffic congestions. Now, an efficient transport system would help ease traffic congestion, reduce travel time as well as cost, and also provide greater convenience to the public at large. And for this purpose, data can be used from multiple sources such as CCTV cameras, automatic traffic counters, map services, etc. Now, this article has highlighted certain world examples of London as well as that of China. Now, study by Transport for London estimates that its open data initiative in London with respect to sharing real-time transit data has helped to add 130 million pounds per year to the London's economy, and this has been done by improving productivity as well as efficiency of the people. Further, in China, artificial intelligence based traffic management platform which has been developed by Alibaba has helped to improve average speed by 15%. And in this regard, the article has also mentioned about an example of India, that is Hyderabad Open Transit Data Initiative. Now, these data sets were built by Hyderabad Open Transit Data after an intensive exercise carried out by the Open Data team along with the Telangana State Road Transport Corporation. And together they collected, verified, and digitized these data with respect to transportation. So there is a need for collaboration from these startups as well as with the government authorities. This article says that even Hyderabad has started collaborating with the private sector to improve traffic infrastructure in the city. And this collaboration was strengthened through memorandum of understanding signed between the state government of Telangana as well as between the Ola Mobility Institute. And under this collaboration, Ola has developed a tool named Ola City Sense, and this tool, that is Ola City Sense, provides data-based insights that can monitor the quality of Hyderabad's roads and identify bad quality patches. And identification of these bad quality patches helps the municipal government to improve or repair these roads. So, similar initiatives can also be started in big cities like Delhi as well as Mumbai. Now, with respect to road repairs, such data is provided to city officials on a dashboard and it is updated every 2 to 3 weeks to capture the nature of potholes on the roads. So, this information becomes useful to carrying out road repairs and it also helps officials to take initiatives and also to improve road safety norms, as well as monitor quality of construction and also study the role of bad roads in causing congestions. So, as a way forward, this article says that Hyderabad example shows that governments can make their departments data centric by institutionalizing data collection, building technology platforms, and also helping the departments to develop capacity to handle insights generated from such data. Further, the Telangana government has declared that the year 2020 will be the year of artificial intelligence, and on this aspect, it plans to run hackathons and master classes with artificial intelligence as its main theme. Further, even discussions are on to include artificial intelligence for traffic management. So, such initiatives can also be planned by other cities. And in this regard, it highlights that similar efforts can be initiated by different municipal corporations to not only understand the impact of data governance but also utilize data to solve other problems. Thus, this article becomes important primarily from the perspective of mains with respect to GS paper 2 with respect to data governance and from GS paper 3 with respect to Indian economy. Now, after our discussion, these are your practice questions for the day. Question number 1. Which of the following can be said to be part of Sustainable Development Goals? Options are legal education, good health and well being, reduced inequalities, clean water and sanitation, and life below water. Now, if you go through this list of Sustainable Development Goals, you find that quality education has been mentioned and legal education has not been mentioned, whereas other four options forms part of Sustainable Development Goals such as clean water and sanitation, life below water, good health and well-being, and reduced inequalities. So in this question, the first option is incorrect and the rest are correct. So the question is select the correct answer using the code given below. So here the correct answer is A, that is 2, 3, 4 and 5 only. Question number 2. Consider the following statements about Jal Jeevan Mission. First, Jal Jeevan Mission is to provide functional household tap connection to every household with service level at the rate of 55 liters per capita per day. Yes, this is correct as we have already seen in our discussion. Second, the fund sharing pattern between center and state is 90 is to 10 for Himalayan and northeastern states, 100 is to 0 for union territories, and 50 is to 50 for rest of the states. Yes, this statement is also correct. So the question is which of the following statements given above are correct? So here both statements are correct, hence the correct answer is C, that is both 1 and 2. Question number 3. Which of the following can be said to be the proposed aim of Pesticides Management Bill 2020? First, make safe and effective pesticides available for farmers. Yes, this is correct. Second, provide compensation by pesticide manufacturers for ill effects of pesticides on crops. Yes, this is also correct. Third, promote organic pesticides in India. Yes, this option is also correct. So the question is select the correct answer using the code given below. So here the correct answer is D, that is 1, 2 and 3. With this, we come to an end to discussion of today's newspaper. Let's move on to the question for the day.